Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day today. So, it is almost the end of the year, and I always love to do a little bit of introspection, reflection, self awareness, exercises, all of those different things to kind of start off the new year on the right foot. And so, I always like to kind of figure out what went right, what went wrong, what lessons I learned, what are my goals for next year, which I'm going to do a video all about my goals and intentions for 2022. But in this video, I thought I would share 6 kind of surprising life lessons that I learned in 2021. If you're new here, click the subscribe button so that you're notified anytime I post new content relating to women's health, hormones, and holistic health. I'm an acupuncturist and holistic health specialist, women's hormone specialist, and I love to talk about mental health, self-awareness, introspection, reflection, all of those different things. I do it with my patients all the time because I just think it's so important to kind of take hold of our life and design our life in a way that suits us and our families best. Okay, so let's just jump into my 6 lessons that I learned this year. So number 1 is don't take anything for granted. So in the past, I've had this lesson over and over and over in my life where, I've gone through a lot of loss in my life, a lot of grief, a lot of things like that, I've learned this before. But this one popped up just in interesting ways, I think, through the COVID pandemic and learning just how fast all of our lives can change, I think, in just the blink of a minute, really. And I know that was a huge lesson for 2020 as well. And now that we're through all of that, but it's still popped up in my life in several ways. And so, just really being present. I've had a big problem in my life with the present moment. I've, constantly, I've mentioned this before, I've struggled with anxiety. And so I've looked in the future a lot and I've looked at past a lot due to, I think, some of the grief and loss that I've experienced. But living in the present moment has been something that I have really, really wanted for myself, for my family, for my kids, to teach them that. And so it's something that I've worked on for a really long time. And I think taking things for granted can be part of just not living in that present moment. And so, I think that was just a big one for me this year of learning to not take things for granted, that anything can be kind of pulled from you in 1 minute and you may or may not be able to get it back. But, just really basking in the glory and the gratitude of things in their present moment has been super important and impactful for me. Number 2, this one was really one of the biggest ones. And I kind of loop 2020 and 2021 together, honestly, because just through the pandemic and my lifestyle and how it's changed due to the pandemic, there's been a lot of positives for it, honestly, a lot of blessings, and a lot of hard times through it as well. But this one has been just an ongoing lesson for about the past year and a half. And that is walk your own path. So I think, and this has been mostly in my business aspect of things, but also in the way we parent and our family dynamics, in our decisions as a family, just everything. And I think, there's so much pressure and expectation from society to just do things these certain ways and want these certain things. And I have always in my life maybe steered away from the normal path a little bit. I've just always kind of desired like a different way. And I always kind of have fought myself on that and been like, you know what, you really should want these things and should do these things. And I just didn't have the desire to. I've always been just a little bit different. And that's something that I struggled with a lot as a kid, actually. But I've learned to kind of embrace that and realize that my business is my own business and I can make it look however I want to and offer whatever I want to and value the things that I want to, not what business coaches or the internet or Instagram influencers or whatever are telling me that I need to value and things that I want. And I think, like I said, you guys, this goes for every facet of life. If your family is doing things differently than maybe what is norm in society, that is a-okay. If it works for you and your family and your kiddos, then go with it. Absolutely. So I think it's important to just remind yourself that you are walking your own path. And that's just definitely such an ongoing thing that I have been discovering for myself. Number 3 is a really great one. So personal development is great, but don't forget that you're pretty great too. So my friend Kylie Larson, actually, she's a high I think it's called like a high achievement coach, and she also is a creator of a program called Lift to Get Lean. But she posted this, and it really, really resonated with me so much. Like, I think through this world, and especially the online sort of space, being an online business entrepreneur, things like that, there's always this push to really do better and be bigger and make a bigger impact and do your personal development and overcome things. And there's kind of like this almost secondary message that's like, you're not doing enough now. You need to evolve into this better version of yourself to be accepted. And, I think that she just really hit the nail on the head with that. And I can't take credit for that statement, but it really, really resonated and just reminded me of some of the work that I've been doing on myself this year of, not valuing my self-worth on certain things and not feeling like I always have to grow and do more and be more. And I think that that's just the message that so many of us get. And so, do your personal development work, do your introspection, become a different person if that's what you desire, grow. All of those things are great for us, but also don't buy into the fact that you're not a great person right now. Okay, number 4 is done is better than perfect. Life is messy and imperfection should be celebrated. I am a recovering perfectionist to the max. I'm full-heartedly able to admit that. I have always been a perfectionist, always valued perfectionism, always strived for that until I realized it didn't exist. A therapist a few years ago, my dear therapist who's helped me through so many of these things, really basically told me this. Like, we just kind of worked and worked and worked to the point that I realized that perfectionism doesn't exist. That isn't a thing. Nobody is perfect, and that's not an end destination to get to. And, life is messy. There's plenty of times that I fall and stumble and struggle, and that is just part of life. And so I think, just embracing some of those things can be really, really helpful in terms of from a mental health perspective. And, just feeling better, like you're doing life okay in general. Number 5 is be flexible and open-minded. So this was also kind of a pandemic in its totality lesson from 2020 to 2021. I have had plans in my mind for a really long time. I've always been a planner, always been kind of type A about things, and always had a direction in what I thought things should look like. And when the pandemic came, I haven't really publicly mentioned it on this channel, but I've talked about it on my Instagram and on my podcast. I actually chose to close my in-person acupuncture practice. And, I did it originally thinking it was going to be for 2 weeks when the kids came home in 2020, and things just kept prolonging. The kids were home longer and longer. I, was grateful and blessed enough to grow my online practice more and more and more. And here I am today without an in-person practice and thriving in my online business. And so it's been really, really great, but just a big reminder that having to be flexible, having to learn how to pivot, having to be open-minded toward lots of different things has been just a huge, huge lesson for me. And I think that is for everybody, of learning like that we do have to pivot. Sometimes we have to change directions, that things don't always end the way we always anticipated them to end or be in general. And so I think that was just another huge pandemic lesson for me, and I am super, super grateful that it was like that. And I think it's always interesting to just look at the journey of like where you've come from and where you are now, and realize that if we're so lucky to live until our approximate, or live until when we should pass and not have a premature death, we will have decades more to come of our journey unfolding. And it's going to be really interesting. It kind of makes me excited too, to just figure out what that's going to look like, and just live each day to, add that up until the end of my life. But, not to sound morbid at all, but it's something that I've always kind of thought about, because I've experienced so much death and loss in my life, that I just always want to be really proud of everything that I've done and the person that I've showed up as in my life and at the end of it. And so that's something that it's a value that I live by mostly every day. And so, this lesson has just been monumental for me to trust myself, be flexible, just let the story and the journey unfold a little bit, just day by day. And number 6, realizing that it's all temporary and not to get too attached to things. And this one kind of goes with number 5, but just realizing that these, like my practice, I had worked so hard for that practice, you guys. I can't even tell you the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that. And they still do to my online business. Like, I still work really hard to maintain that and show up for my patients and grow and make these videos for you all and all of that stuff that brings me such fire and passion. But I worked so hard to get my acupuncture practice, you guys, for years, so many years of just doing networking and meetings and trainings and lunch and learns and showing up there and finding space and so many things. And now just like to look back and just kind of realize that it's not a thing right now, and maybe it will be in the future, maybe it won't, I don't know. I still love acupuncture. I still love that capacity of treating patients. So I don't know what it's going to look like in the future for me with that. But I think just, again, not looking too far in the future, not being too attached to things, not being too type A and like really forcing things has been a really, really interesting journey for me, and something that I'm still trying to really grasp and remind myself over and over and over when new things come up that, this is just part of the journey, and there's twists and turns along the way that we never really know what's going to happen. And it's just kind of part of the excitement and just kind of trying to roll with some of the punches that life gives us. But all in all, it's been just a beautiful year, actually. I know it's been really hard in a lot of world aspects, really hard, exorbitantly hard, with dealing with so many different aspects of the state of the world. But I also think for me, it's been full of lessons, full of working through my own insecurities, full of working toward my own through my own anxieties, full of just doing that sort of personal work. And I really feel so excited for 2022. I feel excited for us as a family. I feel excited for me and my business. I feel excited for my marriage. And I feel excited to be here with you guys. And, I started this YouTube channel about 12 or so weeks ago now. And so I really am so excited to just keep evolving here, creating a library for you guys of so many different topics, kind of pulling back the curtain on myself a little bit and sharing some of the vulnerable things that maybe you don't see on social media, because it's mostly a lot of education and things like that. And so I couldn't be more happy to be here. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here and trusting me. I know that you have so many other people that you could watch and, so many other things that you could give your time to. So if you're here listening to me and still here, I love you, and I just really, really appreciate all the support. If you guys have not hit the subscribe button yet, please go hit the subscribe button to be notified anytime I post new content relating to women's health, hormones, holistic health, all the stuff we talk about on this channel. I also have a free guide if you're interested called 6 Evidence-Based Habits for Healthier Hormones. You can download that at allydamron.com/habits. And it's just all about 6 super simple and effective evidence-based, obviously, things to do that you can just add on into your life, that won't be super time consuming or difficult, to just kind of get yourself on the path to be healthier, feel better, and have healthier hormones. I hope this was helpful. If you want to share it with your friends and family, feel free to do that, and I will chat with you all soon.